Hi guys, we are done with the laundry room. I know I had shared tidbits of the wall behind me of, yes, on my YouTube community tab. If you did not see it or you follow us on Instagram or TikTok, hop over there along with Facebook because I share a lot of the little blurbs, a lot of the little how-tos in the middle of it. Of the process, because this was a 3.5 week process. We gathered up, we had a mindset of what we wanted to do. The wood prices finally went down so we could afford to do this. Yep, we saved our pennies and now I have a new laundry room. Oh my gosh, I am so super excited to share the process with you all today. So here it is, our dark, outdated laundry room. You know, you kind of just raise your family, adjust when washer and dryers break. You try to make it pretty with what you have, but it's definitely on our most wanted to-do list is update and redo this. So yes, we have our washer and dryer stacked in the closet. That is not how we built our house. Actually, that countertop that has cabinets, we had it when we built our house, the washer and dryer underneath that, but of course they're broke, and then you can't have the same set there because we chose to do a utility sink. So then you couldn't, they were all too tall. And so, yep, next thing you know, they're stacked in the closet with the new set and new cupboards in, and that we don't need cupboards in our laundry room. So unfortunately, yes. And then the closet doors used to close, but when we had to stack the washer and dryer into the closet, yep, you no longer could close those doors. Chris's plan is to take out the doors, the whole framework, and then open it up even a little bit more to fit the washer and dryer next to each other. And I don't know what you all store in your closet, your cupboards, your laundry room, what have you. I find that we just kind of hoard on stuff. If we have places that we can shut doors, we just hoard onto it. So yes, the only thing underneath there is a whole bunch of towels. Every time I bought a new bathroom towel, I saved the old bathroom towel. Do you all do that? I'm like, how many old towels do I need? So Chris's next plan is to move a new countertop, raise the sink up, do a different sink. We don't need that large of a utility sink at all, but also a place to hide the cat's litter boxes. And then this whole laundry room redo is going to be done without taking the washer and dryer out of this room. There's a little bit of a landing, 2 steps up. It's a tight fit, not a fun thing to move a washer and dryer. Y'all know that. So the first thing he has to do is start taking everything apart. We can donate what we don't want anymore to the local habitat, which is a nice thing. But yep, first thing is just finally tearing apart this closet. I can't tell you how much of a pain it was to try to clean around a door that just is there. And then along with these wire shelves, I'll be so happy to update those. It kind of like they're hard to clean. They're fine for the purpose of what they're, but I will be happy to get rid of them. So this laundry room took about 3.5 weeks to complete, with 1 weekend and just doing the destruction, taking all of the items out, then getting the game plan. You have a game plan, but sometimes you just need to see everything out, and then building things little by little when you come home after work, because Chris still works a 40+ hour week job. And so, yes, just getting this major part of the destruction taken care of, and then little by little getting it pieced back together. Well, now this is what we have left. Everything that we don't want, don't need anymore, other than some wall decorations that I need to take down. Yep, always leaves a little bit of a hot mess, and now we have to build it back up. So here on the closet, he opened that up just a little bit more right to the next stud. That way that these can be side by side. That will be so nice. I'll have to come up with a little bit of a plan of what to do with the 2 different levels of the drop ceiling that was in the closet. But first things first, sometimes when you make destruction, you have to fill in all those holes that are left behind, anything that's gouging. So it's just going to spend some time, another night of just spackling. And then going ahead the next night, just sanding it, getting it all nice and smooth. Now, actually, it was a couple nights of spackling, getting it nice and smooth, and then being able to sand it, because some of those grooves were very deep. But on that back wall, we're going to do a accent wall, so we didn't need to worry about those. Next up was to lay a new floor, and this is just that snap together forever type of flooring, scratch resistant, water resistant, that whole 9 yards type of flooring that is for us do-it-yourselfers. So now we watched a few YouTube videos before laying this flooring just to make sure we had the know-how of what we were doing. It's always good to do a little research before, a little homework before, that way you save yourself some stress. Do a couple different videos, just don't watch one, do a couple, see if they're doing it similar. So that all of them agree to get that straight line first, so the full one's going across, and as you see, yep, a rubber mallet just to pound them together, and then flipping it on the opposite side to make your mark where you need to cut it. And now Chris is cutting it with a saw, but you totally can cut it with a utility knife. Most people that we saw doing it on the YouTube videos did do that, but he had his available. And as you see, we did a half of one just to kind of variegate the pattern. And once we had it going, then I could go ahead and help along. That way he could make the cuts that were needed and bring me down. So to make it a little bit tighter, make sure the package is tight, you just use an extra piece of the tile, and that kind of just pounces in place. And yes, we did have to work around the washer and dryer. It is what it is, and you just have to do what you have to do. But it actually, other than making the cuts, it went pretty fast. Now I know you all spied the accent wall already being placed before the flooring, but that way we could have a nice tight fit. And to make this look like real brick, this is just those panelings that you get from Menards. We have 2 pieces, and so what he's doing is taking that half brick off each one and going to make them go together. That way you have a full one, you don't have that seam going all the way down the middle. This makes it a little bit more realistic like. Then to make sure that it is adhered to the other wall, yep, using some liquid nail. I know some people, that's their nightmare, but we don't want this paneling falling down. And yeah, it was not the easiest to get in there because we wanted it to look like it was edge to edge and that it had always been there. And yes, that is actually, the crowbar is actually to lift it up so that the pieces are going in together. Now, just because you made all those pretty cuts and you think, oh yes, this will just fit right together, every wall square, yeah, okay. So now, nope, unfortunately, had to go back in and do a little bit of trim work to make them all fit as flush as they can, and then going back in with some brad nails and just making sure that it is on there and it's secured. And I went ahead and I did a spackling. Now, I want to make sure that it doesn't just look like we attached 2 pieces together. So I went in with a few coats, not just 1, 2 coats of spackling, making sure that some of those gaps were filled, that you didn't see those gaps, and then wiping off any of the excess that I might have gotten onto the brick. And then this is a drywall sander. So what I did is I went back in, and where you could see that the piece of the paneling that it's not really wood, it's just like a lot of cardboard. So I went in and I wanted to make sure that even though you saw it, I wanted to make sure that it was sanded smooth to the touch. And they do actually have a few different colors of this paneling to choose from. I just went with the lighter one because I knew I wanted to paint it white. So yep, I'm just going in with just a brush. There's enough grooves in there that I didn't want to worry about drips or runs or anything like that. So it actually is taking, it only took 2 coats to cover this, but yes, I did it all with just a brush. But as you see, it has all those little seams. That's what makes it look that realistic like. So it was worth my time. It's only 2 sheets of paneling to go in by hand. A part of the laundry redo was to lift these washer and dryers up so you don't have to keep bending over on your head trying to get things out of your washing machine. So Chris built this form, and that is a type of plywood or paneling that is waterproof. That way, if the washing machine ever leaks or anything like that, it's not going to warp that wood. And yes, we made 3 little holes so we could have some laundry baskets underneath that, just trying to utilize the storage. And yes, these holes, yep, we go right into our utility room where our water heater and water softener. So it's an easy access to be able to do all the plumbing that's needed for the washer and dryer, and you won't even see those holes once we place these up there. As you heard me say, it was 3.5 weeks, and we cannot go without a washer and dryer for 3.5 weeks. So we need to get these set back up so we can start using them. So while we're doing this, I am going to go ahead and do some maintenance on my washer and dryer. Do what, let's call it some spring cleaning. It sounds funny to have to do cleaning on your washing machine, but just like your dishwasher, your oven, they all need general maintenance of cleaning. And yes, so first thing I always start off, and I do this more often than not, is just taking a wet rag around that rubber seal and getting any of that gunk that is always seems to be left behind and just hanging out there. And if you ever think that your washer and dryer smells just a little bit, today's lesson of cleaning it, this will help you. And then this hot mess I decided I am not dealing with anymore. So I am switching over to the scent pellets and the Tide Pods. I am so tired of having to clean this out all the time. It is always, and we have rusty water that, I do it so often, and it just within months it looks like this again. And nobody cares as much as the person that always cleans it out, which is me. So yep, I just took some time. I took some Barkeeper's Friend that helps get rid of any kind of rust, especially on this plastic piece, and just got it nice and cleaned. And yep, I'm going right in the inside, because even though we have a water softener and it's working properly, still over time you just get that red. So yep. It's not a fun job, but it is a job that just unfortunately needs to be done. And maybe you don't even know that you were there or watching that know that it's even able to come out and be done. Especially on that top. You definitely want to go under the top. That's where it splashes up a lot. And it will, if you have not cleaned it, you may have a little bit of black mold. And I'm going to go ahead with a little bit of the Barkeeper Friend over that rubber seal, getting any kind of other buildup off, along with the inside of that glass. And this is something I did do more often than one would think, every couple of months. That way it keeps our washing machine working properly, and then you don't have that musty smell. I know a lot of times, sometimes these front loaders, people will complain of a musty smell. It may just need to be cleaned. Now, I know if you guys all want to fast forward cleaning a machine like this, but now I'm going into this area. Now, we had a problem with some leakage, so we got a little paranoid, bought one of those tubs to put underneath the washer and dryer, or underneath the washer. So this has not been done for a good couple years. So I just know that this is going to be gross and a hot mess in here. So this is also another part that will be, if you, look at you find, and they're not treasures, just throw them away. It is disgusting in there. And so yes, this is what it looks like, all that lint, all that yuckiness. And yes, this was filthy. Like I said, I have not been able to get to this part for a couple of years with my general cleaning. So this is definitely one of those areas, yet again, if you think you have a smell coming from your washing machine, and if you have one of those, they're supposed to be cleaned out every couple of months. So this is another reason why we wanted to get this lifted off the ground so we could easily reach it. And there again, yep, that used toothbrush is coming in handy, and I'm going to just try my best to get it as clean as I possibly can. And I completely understand if this is the boring part and nobody is interested in it, but I just felt the need to share with people. So now that I've gotten it all clean, I can get it back together. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fill all the compartments in with distilled vinegar. Yep, this is a dishwashing tab. I'm just going to throw it right in there. And that way I'm going to run my own little cycle with as hot as water as I can, hoping to clean out any of that from where the detergent and softener goes into the area that goes into the washing machine. And yes, you should take a peek at there, because that is on the upper part of that rubber seal, and you might have a lot of buildup of residue left behind there too. So I'm just going to do a 30-minute cycle, which is my shortest cycle that I have on my washing machine. and then, yep, as hot of water as it will give, and then just let it run through its cycle. Now, while the washer's doing what the washer's doing, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, yep, not just take the lint trap out, I'm going to take the lint trap out. So if you can get your head in there, there is actually some screws. And as you can see, I have a lot of lint in there. And one of the processes that we do 3 to 4 to 5 times, 6 times a year is we actually always make sure that we do the vent that goes, our piping that goes out to the outside. We make sure that I've actually seen a fire where somebody it was coming out of their dryer vent. So once you've seen that, you're like, oh, we will never let lint build up. And yes, that was very scary. So yep, I'm probably a little OCD. I know people don't like that term, but it is what it is. So yep, I took that off, and now I'm just going in with my vacuum and getting all that lint out. Yes, it's just, yep, we have 5 people that live in this house, so we need to constantly keep up on that. So it's just good to do some general maintenance, just some home protection. So yep, I'm just going to go ahead and wipe off all that glass, get any of that fuzzy that's not supposed to be fuzzy, and get that dryer vent nice and clean, and then replace it back to where it belongs. And now, since I have my washing machine all nice and cleaned, I did not ever realize that it had a cleaning cycle itself. Even though I never use that on my stove, I do not like that high heat. I thought, heck, why not? So I set it, it's an hour and 1 minute, and I can definitely, like, oh, look at all that yuckiness of that water. So I'm glad that I took the time to do it. So it must do some kind of a back flushing thing. And you probably think this 5-gallon of paint looks like a little bit of an overkill for a laundry room. Doesn't look like that big a space, but oh my goodness. Unfortunately, the wall that goes into our laundry room then goes into the hallway, the landing of the stairs that goes into the family room. So the next thing you know, yes, we need 5 gallons of paint because I had to repaint the whole basement. I know you all saw my hack on this when I did our bathroom updates just recently, as I just go in, take that outlet cover off and clean up. They never stay white. They always turn that yellow. So a couple coats of white and then some clear coat to seal them in. And then you got brand spanking new light fixtures. I do it with the outlet, but I put little pieces of paper in the outlet, and I'm not recommending it because I am not an electrician. Funny, the 2 walls in here, the 3 walls in here anyway, I had left the original green. Yeah, imagine that. I had some green in my house. But fortunately, whichever way you want to look at it, I had painted the basement when we were shut down at the beginning of the shutdown 2 years ago. But the paint I picked out kind of coordinated or whatever matched with the paint that I already had. And so my walls were more blue than gray. So I was happy to get rid of that. The frame for the washer and dryer is just turning out so nice. So now we have it framed in. We have all this extra storage space above it. We have storage space below for baskets and what have you. Yep, you have to be doing laundry while you're working on, because you always need a washer and dryer. And so he did build this little closet too, so we can have the ironing board, the iron, a broom, and just some other little things in little totes. And then he'll make for a door for that later on, but he made a little sliding panel just to make it just nice and efficient. Now, if you all were confused by why there was a sliding piece of wood, this is why he's going to hang hooks. So my iron, my broom, and my duster and my dustpan are all on this. So when you open the door, when it opens, you just slide this out. It just makes for a nice little closet that's just really convenient. And then he is framing in the bottom here, there's a little bit of a hot mess where the closet was built in. There was trim and all that. And so just to make it pleasing to the eye, our local Menards has the nicest plywood. So it was well worth the money to spend a little bit extra on a project that's going to be in your house for a while. I'm going to be doing a little bit of an accent wall on the way back of this little cubby, only because we are not drywallers, and I wish we could do a wonderful spackling job. There's a whole bunch of unevenness from where the original closet shelving was, so I'm like, let's just not worry about that. Let me just pick out a nice wallpaper that just kind of coordinates but doesn't take away from my brick wall. Now you just have to trust me. I researched black and white wallpaper, looked on Pinterest, checked out Amazon to see what was pleasing to my eye. So this is a nice, easy pattern to have to match up. And unfortunately, I needed 2 rolls only because I needed a little bit extra, but the first 3 pieces just went on heavenly. It was not a big deal at all. And then I know one thing that we did not video, Chris changed out the light, added another can light inside this area that you saw there. And then we changed the bulbs out to daylight bulbs. So if our laundry room already looks brighter just with what it was, it's because earlier in the process, he just added another light and then changed out those bulbs. And now that I have the wallpaper up, he's going to go ahead and do some finished trim work. That way this looks like not just something you made just to hold your washer and dryer, but a piece of furniture, a nice built-in. I added this beam just to deal with that problem, the 2 different levels of the ceiling. So before we get to the sink part, here's the sink. So I had fell in love with this sink at Habitat. Look at how long I've had this sink. We've been wanting to redo this laundry room for so long, but I'm going to be refinishing it, resurfacing it. It is a little bit of a hot mess. Well, that's just what happens over time. So I'm just taking some 80 grit sandpaper right now and getting that roughed up. I'm going to take some Barkeeper's Friends. I'm going to get any of the rust. There's some rust buildup, any kind of residue off. I'm going to make sure that this thing is as clean as I possibly can get it. Yep, I wanted to make sure that this was good and dry, so not only did I wipe it off with a towel, but I'm taking the hot heat of a blow dryer and making sure that it's good and dry, because I'm going to be using this, I'm a Rust-Oleum fan, the Tub and Tile Refinishing Kit. Bought it off Amazon. They recommended this foam brush. It is a very stinky product, so you want it well ventilated, mask on, gloves on, give all the protection that you can. Yet again, I went to YouTube, I searched people that had already done this and watched a couple videos of what they had done and got my takes of what I needed to do. So after getting them mixed together, I'm just going to be applying thin coats. I only filmed my first and second coat. I ended up doing 4 coats, letting it dry a couple hours in between. When it comes to building the countertop, the space for the sink, and your little countertop to fold laundry or what have you, the whole purpose was to be able to fit the kitty litter boxes underneath that. Yes, we are a cat family, and that it was able to, because that's where the utility sink was, we can do like a 90-degree turn here, or 180 turn, and move our sink this way. And now that that is dealt with and the kitty litter boxes can go underneath the plumbing, which is a good thing. He still has a little bit of plumbing to do yet because you have to hook up the sink. So now he's got that a very nice piece of wood for the countertop that we bought from Menards also. So he has a little block there. That way he knows how much of an edge to leave behind. So he has a little bit of an overhang for the countertop. And that was just helping to make a pencil mark for him to cut it off. And yes, we used the same wood on the front to make a face. But of course you want to dry fit it and really see how it's all coming together. So just a little bit of trim work to hide those ugly 2x4s, but that helps it structurally. So now he needs to cut, this is that, oh my goodness, I want to make sure that I measured right, the cut for the sink in the countertop. Now he's going to make sure that the sink fit and the sink is nice and cured. It said it took 3 days for it to cure, so we walked away for it from 3 days before he made it into the countertop. Now when it comes to staining the countertop, I am just using my watered down Waverly mixture, where I take a small pickle jar, a 1/4 cup of Waverly antiquing wax, a spoonful of Waverly chalk paint, and then water. And this is just the color that I like. It kind of gives it that antiquing look to it, the old barn wood. And then another thing what it's doing is filling it in. So then if Then after that has dried, I go back in with the antiquing wax. That way, sometimes the antiquing wax to me is a little too warm for me, and I want it to be just a more of a neutral color. Not quite the ashy that it is before, but just a little bit more neutral. Yes, guys, you can stain with this. I have done it on many projects that I have done. So now, especially since this is a countertop and I've always sealed them in, and I know that you're like, it's a wax, but it's a watered down wax that is getting into, yes. So I actually, my first coat, I always make sure that I spray it on only because I don't want to be removing any product but just by chance. And then I go in and I brush the rest of the other 3 coats, especially on a countertop. I want 4 coats of that polyacrylic to make sure that it's good and sealed. And we have some shelves that are going in, and all I did was spray those a couple times and just sanded them smooth. But this is the final coat where I am doing the steel wool, making sure that my countertop is nice and smooth. And then after letting that sit for a day, now Chris can start to attach the sink. But oh yep, we had to get a new faucet, and of course this is an older sink, so then nothing quite fit the way that it should. And so he actually had to go back to, now our local right in our own town is a Home Depot, that he had to get a drill bit that can sand away metal, because nope, our faucet didn't fit. Now to attach the countertop, he's just using a figure 8 little attachment. So what he's doing, he's pre-drilling here. Here's the little figure 8 that gets drilled into the 2x4, and then when he lays the countertop on top of it, then he drills that into the countertop. That makes this countertop nice and secure. Oh my goodness, this is really coming together now. I got a matte black faucet from Amazon. I absolutely love it. Black, white, gray, wood, my 4 faves. Now I need to finish up with some painting, but before I start painting all the trim and this face white, I need to go in and do a lot of caulking. That just completes the look. So I didn't video any of me caulking, but oh, look at how that just makes this look like a built-in wall. There's just something about caulk. I love to caulk. I love to take my time to caulk. Just well worth our time. Now for this piece of wood, our little faux beam we got going on here, the walls weren't completely straight, so you couldn't have it be as tight a fit if we wanted it to. Sometimes you just have to live with that perfectly imperfect. So I taped off as best as I could to the area, and I'm just going to use the watered down Waverly mixture that I make, and I'm not going to add any Waverly antiquing wax whatsoever. I just want it to have that rustic look, and this dry wood just soaks it right in. So I ended up going over it with 2 coats, and I got the coverage I wanted and the color I wanted. I needed some more basic white paint, so I just got a ready-to-use paint right off the shelf at my local Menards because we were there, and I always giggle when they're like, yeah, 1 coat coverage. It's white. So, and this is really dry raw wood here. So yeah, it did take 2 coats, but it did cover. And actually, I haven't seen any problems so far. This one had a lot of knots on it, and sometimes you have to use a little bit of shellac on those dark knots. But so far, so good. I'm not saying in the test of time that I might have to go back over. If you have a knot or anything like that, and you have it painted light, and you can see it, just a couple coats of that shellac spray paint, and then paint over it usually takes care of that problem. And then back up into this cubby space I go because we're painting this entire built-in white. And I put the wallpaper up first because I did not want to get on top of what I was going to be painting white. That top part is going to be all white, and I want to also put a top coat, so that's why I chose to do the wallpaper early. Now after 2 coats of white, yep, I just poured on my Annie Salone top coat. I'm going to smooth it out using a sponge applicator. I want a good top coat on the top of this, only because this is where I'm going to have some extra storage baskets to hide our extra stuff, and plus the laundry detergent and the whatnot is going to be on the top of this, and I don't want anything that might spill or anything that might scratch it up. I want to protect that with a good top coat. You know we're on the finish line when it comes to, yep, we're adding some decorative shelving, and I absolutely love this hardware, this industrial piping hardware from Amazon. I put those in our bathroom redo and absolutely love them because you can choose your planks differently at what size you want. But because it might be on the heavy side and we have that drop ceiling, Chris is just popping his head in and looking to see where their studs are. So the placement of the shelves are going to be that at least a couple of the screws are into the stud. That way I don't have to worry about this pulling out of the drywall. So I wanted to hang something on that brick paneling, but I knew that it could not be very heavy, and I did not want to nail into it, and I didn't want to vinyl on it. And so looking on Etsy, I stumbled across those. Oh my goodness, will it ever be just a nice accent on this brick wall? Now I'm just kind of trying to get my placement. I'm just going to eyeball it, no measuring today. And if Chris would have hung this, it would have been at his eye length. So I guess I needed to do this. And just simply, I'm just going to use some hot glue because I know that I'll be able to take it off if I want, and it should not ruin this paneling. And I found this awesome tote for the extra kitty litter, and it is on wheels, so that is perfect. I'm still waiting on my strainer and my water stopper to come from Amazon for the sink, but oh, I love the sink. Love that matte black. Oh, beautiful faucet. Made all these labels just myself, just off my computer, used a heading setting and then made my own line. And yes, I might have gone a little bit crazy with the labeling, but I love it. And we purchased this rolling cart off of Amazon. That way we could have a laundry basket up and then something to hang up our clothes when they came out of the dryer. So just a perfect little industrial, just definitely goes with that industrial theme. I love that seamless look that caulking gives you. I'm definitely not a huge wallpaper person usually, but I just love the accent of that, hiding all that mess up drywall behind there. It definitely does that along with these. I've had those baskets forever, and yeah, I thrifted all these containers, so it was fun making labels for them. It's funny, one by one over the time I had collected and thrifted those laundry baskets, and I actually thrifted 3, but for some reason one has gone missing. Made this drying rack forever ago. I can't even tell you how long ago. So all these rods just pull out. I can put clothes that I don't want to go into the dryer on these, and then I don't have a clothesline outside. And then he toyed with, when he had the idea of the plants, was to put something in the middle, but once he was able to slide them over like he did, this is just a nice closet. We didn't put a handle on it because I don't want it hitting the wall. And then more of those little totes from Menards for extra baggies for kitty litter and the litter. Oh yes, just awesome. I just love how this is organized. Just the stuff that I use, it's minimal. My ironing board, my iron, my duster, my dustpan, my broom, that's all I need. And then that he made it pull out like this, oh my goodness, my heart. It just a great, awesome design, and just simple, just blends in with, just looks like a built-in. Now, hopefully in the next year or so, we can save some more money to be able to replace the carpeting that's downstairs, because that's been there for 20-some plus years too. So what did you think about the reveal? Oh my gosh, 3 years in, a dream of having a brand new laundry room just brightens up the space. I think it's timeless. I absolutely love I love this brick wall. I've always wanted, if I can't have the real thing, because our house, we built it in 98, so no, it's not a old house. Nothing like making a newer house look old. Just absolutely love it. I'll link whatever I can of what we've done. Some of the items, of course, I'm a thrifter, so they were thrifted, and I reused what I had. And yep, wood prices finally went down, and we could afford to do this. Yep, saved up our pennies for it, gathered things up last few years to be able to do it, and I am just in love. And yes, why not do my exit video for you all in the laundry room? So yep, thanks for watching today's video, and if I have inspired you in any way, very blessed to have a handyman like Chris, and that we work well together. Lots of DIY is here because that keeps the cost down. The snap together floor, once you watch a few videos, wasn't too bad. Resurfacing that sink, yep, watched a few videos on that. That wasn't too bad. You know, a lot of it is just, you know, doing a little bit of research on the item that you are purchasing. So again, thank you. I hope you enjoyed our laundry makeover. I broke it up in time frames, so if you wanted to check out the flooring, the resurfacing, or even cleaning the washing machine, which I know is a nasty job, but sometimes I just like to share little things like that when you're wondering, like, why do I have that musty smell? Sometimes it's coming from your washing machine. So okay guys, thanks again. We will see you next time, and you can see what we're up to. Bye.